You're listening to the Breezy Moms podcast on digital stream radio.
Suburban mom life is a thing, and if you have children, you know how important it is to find a tribe. Sometimes you find a good one, and sometimes you have to make a little noise so it will get better. So stick around. Hey everyone, you're listening to the Breezy Moms podcast, a weekly show that chronicles the adventures of motherhood. I'm Candace. Now let's start the show.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good, Miss Candace. How are you?
I'm really good. I know we met last week, but we were on air last week, but this feels like the longest week ever.
It does.
It just really feels like I haven't seen you in a long time, but you also look really fancy. You got all
I did. I got a haircut. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
And
Looking
I got
good.
a tan, an even darker tan that I've already had. Look at that. Oof.
Oh my God. Why are you always showing people the business on the show, Tommy?
Well, because, it's like...
It's too much. Put it away. Put it away. I actually haven't been spending that much time outside in the backyard. I need to pull it together.
Gorgeous today.
Yeah.
I was out there having a beer, 2, 3.
A couple. That's okay. We went out for lunch. James and I did a quick 15-minute ride on. We have a couple bikes in our garage gym, and so we decided to. You just got to jump in. You're like, we're not going to get a whole full workout, but we're going to do what we can. And so we did like 3 or 4 songs on the bike and some kettlebells. And we're like, all right, I'm hungry now.
Let's go eat. No, it's amazing. So for all of you listening and tuning in on Facebook Live, thank you for tuning in. Just remember that our show is available on iTunes, or Apple Podcasts. It's also available on Google Podcasts. It's available on Digital Stream Radio, Spotify, and even Podbean for those of you who have the app. And also, you can go to breezymomspodcast.com for more information on the show. Truly, it is our honor to be on air with all of you all the time. And make sure that you go like, rate, and review the show because Candace is amazing and she deserves it.
Thank you. You always remember to hit all the marks.
I can't believe I just said all of that with all of this alcohol that I have in my body, but I did.
I love it. It's muscle memory. I love it. So I'm so glad that we're here. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And let's just jump right in because tonight is a thing. It is story time tonight. You ready?
Story time. Open that book, baby girl. Read it to me. Read me.
So I want to just jump right in. Usually you would ask me the question.
Baby girl, I have a question for you.
I'm listening.
How are your boys?
The boys are really good. They have been naked all the time. The last few days, you just can't get them to keep clothes on. And they are digging a hole, like a person size, like a little person, but a person size hole in our backyard. So between the hole and the sand and the nakedness and the water, they're just wild.
They're living their best life.
They really are. And they're doing every time they do it, I think of it as like a Terminator thing. Remember, no, it's Predator. Remember when he's in the movie Predator and he's hiding in the jungle and he puts the mud all over his body so that Predator can't see him? This is what my kids are doing with the sand. Okay. They're taking the sand and they're splashing in the sand as if we don't have water. Right. And you all are trying to make me look bad, but I know I have water. So you guys can't play me. Do what you want. I don't even care.
And then they come in the house with all that sand and it ends up
No.
We
take no. You hose them down, and it is not play sand. I'm calling it sand because it's really dry right now, but it's dirt. It's dirt, so usually the dirt gets left behind. It's just that then if they're a little bit sweaty, then they might have footprints on the way in. But I just hose them down. It's hot enough. If you're gonna be in the dirt, you're gonna get hosed down.
You stand right there. I got something for you.
I know. And I was actually thinking today that I should make a little kit because I'm all about the fucking kits. I should make a little kit that has some body wash and have our towels ready and then give them the bath outside, right? If we're going to be outside until right before dinner anyway, then maybe we should just it would save me so much time cleaning my tub.
Like, not
So
for
I think
nothing,
I'm gonna try it.
Candace.
I'm gonna try
I
it
I
tomorrow.
think you're onto something, and believe it or not, there is this little kit that you can buy at I think I was at Lowe's, I think it was, and you can build like an outdoor shower.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
I
I saw
think
one at Christmas Tree Shop a
I
couple
think
years
I'm gonna
ago.
do it. I think I'm gonna build one
It
because
would
like
be really cool. It would be really cool and really helpful. I mean, I was just gonna go the like Caribbean family bucket style, right? The
so
like,
here's my fear though, right? So I'm terrified of spiders and
mm,
any bug really that has more than two legs.
mm-hmm,
And so if I'm showering outside and now I'm butt naked
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and I'm in my outdoor shower and I see a spider, you
It's gonna
best
be
to believe my neighborhood is going to see me in all my full glory.
all of that glory.
All of it. Because
Well, I
it's,
mean, if
I
you
just,
want to be one with nature, then you're gonna be one with nature.
I do not do spiders. And so that's the only thing that's holding me back, really.
Well, that's why I'm not setting up a full shower. I am just going to start now putting a bucket. I'm sure we have a bucket somewhere. And I'm going
Yeah.
to do like my mom is always saying that they used to put out the bucket in the morning and then just every couple hours you move the bucket so that it stays in the sun. And by evening time, the water is warm and you can take a bath. I used to
Hello.
make fun of her, but now I see the benefits. I
So
see the
I
benefits.
will tell you that like showering outside is awesome. It's an
Hmm.
experience when it's nice and hot and everything. It's great. But again, I'm terrified
Hmm.
of spiders, and I know that they're out there.
Hmm.
And so I'm so terrified of spiders that my friend loaned me a wet saw so that I can cut stone that I was putting in my walkway last year.
Hmm.
And I went into my shed and I saw a massive spider. I mean, it had to be the size of at least a $50 coin.
Wow.
And he also left me a little extra gasoline.
Stop it.
So I
Just
sprayed the
burn it
spider
down.
with gasoline and I almost burned my shed down. I had to run in the house and
Stop.
get my
Fire
fire
extinguisher.
extinguisher to pull it out. And so if you walk into my shed now, you'll see a big listen, I will
Like a
burn my whole
smoke
fucking house
that
down.
throw it away. Throw it away.
No shit's given. There's insurance for that shit, but I do not do
You better
spiders.
not tell them there was a spider. I don't think there's spider insurance.
I do not do spiders.
Oh my God. Well, let's just jump right in because
Let's do it.
we could talk about spiders all night. I don't like them either. So I'm going to call this story time, right? I'm going to call this story time and I'm going to try to stay on point, on message, but just recognize that I've taken most of today. This is something that happened yesterday. I've taken most of today to kind of like recover and think about my actions, think about what I contributed, think about what was put in front of me. And I think I'm in a good place now, which is why I want to talk about it, which is still pretty fast, right? Like just one day. Are you taking notes?
Chapter 1.
Chapter 1. Okay.
Chapter 1. Wait,
Okay.
no, this is the preface. So she's warming you up.
I'm warming you up. Okay.
We getting serious.
So, so Claire says that she does. Oh, she calls them the eight-legged spawns of Satan. I agree. I agree.
1000%.
Okay, so story time in the life of suburb. I'm from New York, so New Haven feels like a suburb to me. It's a city, but so what I call New Haven is a city burbia, right? It is city, but it's still pretty friggin' small, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a neighborhood in the Bronx. So I still think of this as real small town.
What's a neighborhood? So it's like Fordham.
It's like Fordham. All of New Haven is like Fordham Road, okay?
Let's go fucking shopping.
It literally is what it's like, okay? It's like Fordham Road, period. Okay, done. So anyway, it still feels small town here to me. And I like that. I like that I know my neighbors. I like that when I used to go outside, when outside was open, you could run into people that you know, or you say something and they like, oh, someone that I know, and it helps you actually meet people. That's how small this town is, and that is for better or worse, whatever. It's just small. Valid. So I am in a couple groups on Facebook, like mommy groups on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And like everything, there are different kinds of groups for whatever needs you have. And this group tends to be the kind where if you're giving away something, or if you're looking for some, like, oh, I need a changing table. Does anybody have one? Or I'm looking for whatever it is you're looking for. It's really easy. Apparently, it started out as a meetup group. Well, anyway, I've been in this group for several years now, and I'm kind of like in and out of how active I am in the group, but I'm also on social media a lot, right? I'm on social media for this show, for the other show, for the business, for the skincare. Like, I'm always on social media. So when I see things, I see things, and I'm in it. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to get off social media.
She's a busy woman. She's a busy woman, and there's nothing wrong with being busy and connecting with people. So don't be ashamed about
being like it
on social media.
But I am also very. I don't think that I'm sensitive, but maybe I am sensitive. Okay, although I think I'm the right level of sensitive.
Some people would say problematic.
Right, problematic. Okay, and here's the thing: is that sometimes you see things and you're like, okay, this isn't worth talking about. But other times you see things and you're like, okay, this is definitely worth talking about. But I brought up the last thing that was worth talking about. Is anybody going to bring up this thing? Because I start getting antsy. I'm like, does anybody see does anybody see what's happening here? Is anybody going to say something? Somebody needs to say something. Oh, nobody's going to say anything? Okay, I have to say something.
So chapter 1.
These are the stages I go through. Okay, so that was the backstory, because this is how women tell stories, right? You've got the backstory, and then you've got the backstory. The backstory is that here in New Haven, we are a Title I district, which means that everyone gets free lunch in the public schools because there's such a high percentage of the kids who would qualify for free lunch anyway that they might as well just give it to everybody else, right? It's not going to break the bank to give the last 10 kids or the last, it's like 9 kids out of 100, right? I think we're at like 91% free and reduced lunch. So they were just like, all right, let's give everybody free lunch. And then because school is closed, the state, social services or whatever, I don't know if this is a pandemic thing or if this is what would have happened in any case if school was closed. They decided to send out an EBT card. So they were sending out money to families of all New Haven students to supplement food, given that's usually, the idea here is that a lot of kids get most of their food at school when they're in school. And so if school is closed, they're not getting any food. And so they're going to, the state is trying to make sure that kids are still getting food. I think it's a great idea.
I think it's a fantastic idea.
It's a fantastic idea. So
and for some people out there who may think, well, what the hell is the mother doing? It's not about that. Okay. But
but that's why I have the backstory. The backstory is no matter who you are, if your child is going to a New Haven public school, they are receiving free lunch because it is a Title I district. And so because of that, when they decided to give out this benefit, right? This benefit they sent it to everyone. They didn't say, this is for the kids who would receive free and reduced lunch, but not for the kids who only receive it because everybody else receives it, right? Like, that's too much work.
Like, so you live on Alden Avenue, so you're not entitled to it.
Exactly. But you are because your child goes to the school, right? Yeah. So everybody got it. I had no idea this was coming. So James gave me a couple envelopes the other day and was like, hey, this looks important. And I looked at it and I was like, social services, what did I do? Right? Like, that was my first thought. And then I opened it up and there was an EBT card in it. And I was like, wait, why? So then I thought originally that it was applying. I was like, oh, maybe this is another program that they're saying we can apply for. You know how they send you a fake credit card and they're like, ooh, call this number and then you get a credit card?
Right.
That's what I thought it was. But it came with a pamphlet. I thought originally that they're saying.
Sorry, that was.
Okay. So that's what I thought it was, that I would apply. They're saying that I could apply for this thing. And then I saw the little pamphlet and I was like, oh, let me read this because it's not that long. And I realized that they said what they said, right? Because your child goes to a school, we're sending this to you. All you have to do is call this number, activate the card, and this is how much money is going to be on the card. And I was like, ooh, win. Like, this is
like,
awesome.
Seriously.
Like, this is awesome, right? And so that had happened the day of or the day before. I don't know, but I was super excited. I was like, damn, I already went grocery shopping this week, but this will be great for next week. Fantastic, right? That was my thought. Even though we don't receive SNAP benefits, even though I did not apply for it, like, I read the thing and I was happy. Thanks, Uncle Sam. I appreciate you. So then I'm on the internet, where I always am, and I see in this mommy group that someone brings up the EBT card, right? And it's basically that they don't really understand. At first, they weren't sure if they were meant to get it, and then they weren't sure if they should spend the money because they live in a neighborhood. They mention the neighborhood, okay, and it's
Alden
a fancy.
Avenue.
It's like a it's a neighborhood associated with Yale, right? Like, I mean, all the neighborhoods are associated with Yale, but they live in the neighborhood that's right behind Yale, so it's like the fancy neighborhood. Right. And so, thankfully, they are not food insecure. And so when I read that, I was like, wait, what? Like my brain started to twerk a little bit. And then they kept going on about, like, should they use the money, or should, like, if they don't use the money, does the money go back into the pot, or will somebody else get the money? Or if we don't use the money, will the budget suffer for next year? And I was just like, whoa.
You were using the money before and didn't even know about it.
No. They weren't using the money because they didn't have the card, right? They didn't.
No. But before, when their child was in school,
right. They were
already
eating the
using
food.
that money. You didn't even know about it.
Exactly. The child was eating the food.
Your child did.
So
but you didn't.
And so okay. they were in this public forum talking about getting the money, not needing the money, about other people who might have needed it more, and about, like, how they could give it to somebody else who might need it more. Like, how do we give it away? And then there was a set of responses that was like, oh, well, you could use it and buy food and go to take it to a homeless shelter, or it was mostly take it to the homeless shelter. Then someone else was like, oh, but just know that usually with these kind of benefits, if you use them and then you come into a lot of money later, then you have to pay back the benefits. I was like, what? I mean, there was just so much, right? And at no point did anybody say, did you read the pamphlet? You got the card. The card came with a pamphlet. The pamphlet said, you a letter. The letter said, if you don't want this money, throw away the card. That's what the letter said. Okay. The letter said, giving your card to somebody else is a federal crime. If you don't want to use it, throw it away. It also said on page 3 of a pamphlet, right? Not of a book, of a pamphlet. It also said, you are receiving this card because your child goes to a public school in New Haven, right? You didn't do anything to apply for it. It's just for you, right? Use it or don't, but here it is, right? That's what the letter that was included said. So I'm reading this thing and I'm going, does this lady know that we're in the middle of a pandemic? Does this lady know that we're in the middle of a massive unemployment crisis? Does this lady know that schools are giving out food right now because some kids don't have any food? Does this lady know that those families are in this group right now? Does she is anybody going to say anything? Is anybody going to remind her?
She probably did know, but, as with a lot of Kathys in the world, she didn't care.
Right. So I sat and I was like, okay, Candace, sometimes you could be extra, right? Maybe.
Be extra, baby girl.
Right. And
wait, hold on one second. Chapter 2.
So I'm like, Candace, are you being extra right now? And then I was like, no, girl, you are not being extra right now because this is how they do. Okay. And then I started to remember and catalog all of the times that someone asked about safe neighborhoods in New Haven, that asked about which school was better, that asked about which neighborhood was better, that asked about farmers market. I mean, that asked about all kinds of coded word things for what are the best parts of New Haven. Okay. Because the reality is that everybody wants to come and get what New Haven has to offer, like free full day preschool for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds before full day kindergarten that the neighboring towns don't offer, right? Mm-hmm. They offer half day. West Haven offers half day kindergarten, okay? But our magnet program makes it possible for West Haven, East Haven, Naugatuck, Saugatuck, all of these different places to come and use our full day pre-K 3, 4, and kindergarten, right? That is why people want to come to New Haven, but they want to come to New Haven to our magnet schools and then talk trash about the different neighborhoods. This neighborhood, this, or this, what is the crime over here? Or
like,
how do
I don't want to live in Fairhaven, or I don't want to live in the Hill, or New Hallville, or...
Exactly. So it was very challenging for me to read this one post in isolation of all of these other things that I had already seen in this group, right? And so I was like, yes, maybe like 0.1%. They don't know, right? But that's what Google is for. Google been around a long time. That's what the number on the pamphlet is for, too. And this group has been acting up, okay? And so, because I can't help myself and I talk for a living, I'm going to just have to say something, right? Because that's what I do, okay? So, to be fair and truthful, I must have written this post and rewritten it 6 times, okay? Because
we do that a lot, right?
Right?
But why do you do that? Why do you do that, though?
Because if I say the first thing that comes out of this brain, it's going to think you're crazy. Problem, okay? Mm-hmm. It's going to be a problem.
You're going to be problematic. But
listen,
even with
Tommy,
even with the revised 7 times version,
it still
you're
was
probably still problematic.
So I even, Tommy, took the text out of Facebook into notes on my computer so that I wouldn't accidentally send it before it was scrubbed of all the "you better pull yourself togethers." Okay. So I decided, look, this is as clean, nice Black girl, right? Not confrontational, but I shouldn't say that. It was confrontational. It was not aggressive. Okay. This was not aggressive, but fucking confrontational because this needed to be confronted. Okay. And then I posted it. Okay. Here is what you did. Here is what it sounded like to me. Here is how it could have been. Not could have been. Here is how it was offensive to me. And I don't even generally have an EBT card. And here are the 8 things that you could have done with this thing. Number 1, call any friend. You could have literally texted anybody in your phone and they would have told you the same things. Oh, buy some food and go take it to a homeless shelter, right? Here's some other things you can do. You can buy your kids some food because all of our kids have been eating like we've never fed them before. My kid gained 6 pounds and an inch and a shoe size since
I'd rather
March.
Pay their rent than pay the food that they're swallowing right now.
Listen, okay?
And I'm talking about myself.
Exactly.
I want to pay my mortgage.
Feed your own kids because your kids are eating more than they should be right now, okay?
Seriously.
Feed your best friend's kids. Find your friend down the street because she probably not mad about an extra $300. Give her the money, okay?
Yep.
Come on this very group and say, hey, any mama out there want to meet me at the supermarket? My treat, okay? And then you use your, thankfully not food insecure grocery budget. You pay for their groceries, and then you use the EPT card to pay for your own groceries. No laws broken, right? You take your EBT card and go to a local bodega that's a small business. spend the money there, then take it to your friend's house, right? Take it to the shelter, take it wherever you want to. Now you've done two things, right? You have supported a small business and you have fed someone who's hungry. What else can you do with this thing? You could take your grocery money, your cash grocery money, give it to any organization of your liking, take the EBT card and buy groceries, right? Double duty. You could throw the card in the garbage like the pamphlet told you to. You could walk down the street anywhere in New Haven and offer the first person you see $300 cash, right? Because I'm a good person and I want to help you out. And then take the EBT card and go to the supermarket and spend it. That's what you could have done without any questions, right? Without even having to bounce ideas off of anybody, right? And if you're watching this and you got the EBT card and you don't know what to do, use any of those things. Send it to me. I will feed this kid who gained 6 pounds in 3 months, okay? That's what I will do, okay?
I eat. You can give it to me.
Okay.
Ain't no shame in my game.
So that's what I said. I said what I said, and I left it there. Now, the first thing that happened was two women who were not the woman who posted came to defend this lady, okay? They didn't post it. They came to defend her. Still 2 days later, the lady who wrote the thing hasn't said anything, right? But these two ladies came in hot, hard, and heavy about the validity of that question, because it's not a problem. It's a fair question. Maybe she's not from New Haven and she doesn't know anybody in New Haven who understands the EBT card or this benefit, right? And so that's why she came here. Right? Because nobody
get the card if you weren't from New Haven, or if you didn't have a child going to school in New Haven.
Okay, but even if we weren't talking about that, none of your friends would help you spend $300. None of your friends would have any ideas of how to help you spend $300. Okay.
I have.
That's what they came in to tell me. And I said in my original post, because I wanted to make clear that the issue here is that the money came as an EBT card. Okay. EBT, SNAP, it's called SNAP here, welfare, those kind of benefits come with stigma. Okay. Nobody said anything about the stimulus money that came direct deposited to not all accounts, but to lots of accounts a couple months ago. People were actually mad. Okay. People were actually mad that they were over income because they wanted the stimulus too. Okay.
But give them an EBT card with $300 and
exactly. Nobody had any problems figuring out how to spend that stimulus money. So I called this EBT card a stimulus. That is how I see it. The government is giving out money, stimulus, right now in the middle of a global pandemic and unemployment crisis. All of the money, any money that the government is giving out right now is stimulus. That is unemployment benefits, stimulus, especially since they've opened up unemployment to people who generally, like myself, would not have been eligible for them before because because I'm self-employed, right? But global pandemic, everybody deserves unemployment, right? Unemployment, delays on your mortgage, stimulus, okay? Delays on your utility bills, stimulus money direct deposited into your account, stimulus. What else were they? Stays on student loans, stimulus. Stays on rent, stimulus. All of them are stimulus. But EBT card, which is a stimulus, that doesn't sound like stimulus. That sounds like welfare. And holy shit, I don't get welfare. What happens when I go into the store as a what? As a rich looking white lady? as a pretty white lady,
You gonna
as
walk
a
up in
smart
there
white
and hand
lady,
over the
as
EBT card, and they're gonna look at you like they look at everybody else. Anything else?
exactly. And what are you gonna say? Oh, but no, but I don't have what. But the state sent this to me because you know what happened is I live in the neighborhood. I mean, we're not. I mean, thankfully, we're fine. We're fine right now. But because my kid goes to the school, the public school, and everybody else get free, then he gets free. So then they gave, but right. Like
I got
that.
news for you, woman. Let me tell you. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something really quick. When you walk up into a supermarket, which by the way is considered essential, but they only get paid like what? $10 an hour to do that job. They don't give a shit about your goddamn fucking EBT lookalike card. Just go up in there and spend your shit, and you don't have to worry about that person judging you because you know what? They don't make enough money for that shit.
And they just more concerned with making sure you don't cough on them through the glass. Right?
Seriously.
They looking at it the least amount possible. They don't care what it is. Did it click green? Did it say yes, paid, accepted, takeout card?
Approved?
None. Approved. That's what
That's all
says.
they care.
That's
your
all they
purchase
care about.
Is approved.
But
would you like paper bag, or are you going to bring your own bags, or do you want me to just toss them into your car? What do you want me to do with the shit?
Exactly.
They don't care.
But because EBT cards and welfare and SNAP benefits come with stigma, and we're going to call it stigma because it's negative, right? There's no positive stigma. Because they come with stigma, all of a sudden we have to think about what we're going to do with this stimulus money because it's problematic. Okay, it's going to make us look bad when we're out in the streets, and we have to have our story ready so that if somebody asks us why we're using this card, we explain to them, oh, but we're actually using it to get money to go give to the homeless shelter. Why is any of that necessary? Don't nobody care about your business that much. Okay.
You walk up into the place, you buy your groceries, you put them on a little belt, they turn on that little button, and they go, nee.
Yes, exactly. Nobody
and then
cares
when they get to the end, she scans it. You don't even have to hand them the card. You put it into the machine yourself.
Yes. Okay.
Listen, you want to get a little sticker and decorate that bitch to death? You go right ahead. You slide it into the machine. You put in your little pin that you established through the little phone number that you had to call. And before you know it,
and it's
you're
done.
walking out the door, and you never even handed them this little stimulus card.
Exactly. Now the things that I recognize and I'm assuming that people are worried about is hopefully so that you're aware of what people are going through. You should know that EBT money is not for anything and everything, right? You have to use EBT money for food. And there are things that you can't use it for paper goods, right? So this is the issue with you can't buy hot food or pre-prepared food. Yeah. You can't buy toothpaste, paper towels. You can't buy any of that stuff. It has to be food, right? So that's something you have to know. That's like research, right? Or if you're a part of society and you have some idea. Like, I feel like you should have some idea of these things that are available to other people. Like, it's just being a part of the society.
Unless it's the cash part. Like, so some people will get, for example,
SNAP benefits. Some people get cash. Yeah. And maybe they don't know that.
And so if you're getting a stimulus card, chances are that it's cash value and not SNAP value. And so you may be able to.
And see, I don't even know that. I actually don't even know if all of the money on the EBT card is cash or if it says what the amount is on it. Yeah. But I don't know if you can use it for paper goods because it's cash or if it's just SNAP like WIC, right? Where you have to get, 12 dozen eggs and one bag of bread and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But this just adds on. It adds on to the fact that there's information that you have to get and things that you have to know about it. And by the way, the people who generally get EBT cards have to know about that stuff too. The people don't want to do the work to find out about, right? Yeah. Like it's just it's almost thick.
But you got a pamphlet.
Right, but the pamphlet's there. Although the pamphlet, now that I'm thinking about it, that thing you just said about cash or like food, I'm not clear on that. But I am not worried so much about it that it feels weird to ask about that, right? Yeah. That would have been a different question on the group. Hey, I got an EBT card and I know that sometimes these benefits are cash or food, or you can't use the money for blah, blah, blah. Does anybody know if the card is just for food or if I can buy my paper goods or my like home goods with it?
And that would have been a completely different story, right?
That is a completely different story, right? There is no judgment. There's no assumed judgment. There is no, I mean, that food insecure word term is just laden with judgment.
Not necessarily with judgment. Like food insecure is just another way of saying poor people, and I'm not
you're
there.
Not in this group. You're not in this group, okay?
Yeah.
People use coded language, right? It's why we don't accept being called thugs, okay? People use coded language, and that shit sucks. And now we are calling people out for it. I am calling people out for it. People are being called out for it, and they will. And people who are getting called out want to retreat. Like, no, you knew. That's why you use that word, okay?
Well, she retreated, but these two Beckys.
Okay, these two Beckys came, and here's the thing.
Chapter 3.
Chapter 3.
Okay.
The two Beckys came. I think we got like 5 chapters. I'm gonna try to keep it together. Right. Okay. The two Beckys came, and I knew they would come, and I was ready. Okay, because I generally don't have these kinds of interactions because I only talk to people who know me, right? It's the thing. Small town, you know all the people that you know. But these two Beckys just saw me as the black girl, right? That they had whatever thoughts that they had about said black girl, okay? They don't know Candace. They don't know me. They don't know the people that I know, right?
I'm about to find out, though.
So they came really hard with... They said I was bragging about getting an EBT card, okay? Because so-and-so's question was reasonable. And here you are talking about how you got a card and how you're going to go spend it at Price Right. That's what I said. I said very specifically, I'm going to go to Price. I happen to be standing next to Price Right. I was like, I'm going to go spend my money at Price Right, okay? Go have fun at Price Right is what this woman who right before that told me that she's from Guilford. Her kids go to Guilford schools. She doesn't get any SNAP benefits. And oh, by the way, she heard about the card and she's not even mad she didn't get one. I'm sorry, was that an option? Were you supposed to be in Guilford mad that people in New Haven got EBT cards? Is that how any of this works? Okay.
It ain't none of your business.
Okay. Then she says to me, are you gonna buy my groceries? She says to this black girl on this day in the year of our Lord 2020, she asked me if I'm going to buy her Guilford groceries for the week because I suggested that the first lady buy her friend some groceries. The first lady who didn't need the money and said she didn't know what to do with the money. Okay.
Clear your throat, girl.
That's what she said to me. And then she told me to go have fun shopping at Price Right, ... Okay. She also said I must have been confused because I called the EBT card a stimulus when an EBT card is meant for kids who don't have any money or people who are food insecure. Okay. And I was like, first of all, lady, I wrote all of that. I gave you all of the information that I gave you. Okay. And you think that I am confused? You think that this whole grown ass woman is confused about $300? No, I'm not confused. I am not confused. You know who's confused? You. Okay. You are confused because you have an idea of what you think someone from New Haven knows. Okay. And that I can't possibly know more than you from fucking Guilford about what's going on in my town. All right?
In my neighborhood.
In my town, in my neighborhood. Okay? Then other woman, I almost said friend, but she ain't my friend. Other woman gets on and says, I am usually offended, and I wasn't offended by this. Okay, that's what she says. And I'm like, listen, lady, I am not easily offended, and I was offended by this. Okay, usually I'm not offended, but this shit is offensive. I am properly offended by what is being said in here. I am also now properly offended by how you were talking to me, because how dare this Black girl from New Haven challenge you? Okay. And how dare I not stop when you give me your sad story about how you used to be on welfare back in 1972. Okay.
Nobody cares.
I don't care. You should have felt offended by this thing because of how you remember feeling. Okay. That's what you should have. In this moment, you should have been offended. But that's none of my business. I can't tell you how to feel. What I can do is tell you how I feel, and what you cannot do is tell me how I should not feel. Mm-hmm. You cannot say, oh, you shouldn't be offended because I wasn't offended. That's not how any of this works. Okay. Now, chapter 4. I happen to be talking to a friend who is an amazing ally, right? An amazing white girl, mm-hmm. and friend and ally, all of the things, right? And she was like, oh, no, she didn't.
Oh, yes, she did.
And she says to me, I'm about to write a strong worded post. And this is what she says to me. Anything you want me to use my white lady privilege to say? And I was like, thank God for you, who has been reading the posts, right? Not my post, but like the general posts from the last month, have been reading the articles, have been reading the information on how to show up and show out as a fucking white ally, as a co-conspirator, as a person who is willing to risk your social capital for another mom, for a friend, for a fucking woman who deserves to be heard just like everybody else, because you know that you have it, and you know that yours is more important than mine. You don't think that yours is more important than mine, but you recognize that other people do. Okay. So I was like, listen, I can't put words in your mouth. You could say what you want to say. Just make sure.
Since you're there.
Since you asked. Okay. So then so this lady says this thing, and so once my friend says something, once my lily white friend comes in, now all of a sudden this lady goes, oh, I give up. I was just trying to say. I was like, oh, but you weren't giving up when I told you all the facts that I said, right? But now there's someone who looks like you, who your tears do not work on. Oh, by the way, your tears don't work on me either. Now you can't use them. It's like negative charge. It doesn't work. White lady tears do not work on another white lady.
It's like a white version of like reverse psychology.
Right.
Like I'm coming for you. Like
no, it's like oil and water. It just doesn't work, right? But she wasn't ready for that. And then are we in chapter 3? End of chapter 3.
No, chapter 4.
Oh, okay. End of chapter 4 is that the moderator of the group shut down the comments in the thread. Okay.
Stop.
The moderator shut down the comments and said something like, I think some good information has been shared, and so that this doesn't get out of control and we don't she kept using the word hate, we're going to shut down. And just remember, this is a drama-free zone. Sorry. I'm getting upset. Just remember, this is a drama-free zone, and it will, and per the rules, it will not be tolerated, right? Now,
the black woman became problematic, huh?
Okay, so this is exactly what it looks like. It looks like I said something, and so was mad and probably cried, and so now, don't forget the rules, okay? So that was the end of that. The thing is shut down. Now I was upset, but not surprised. Okay. So I was ready to start a whole new thread, right? And go out in a fucking blaze. Okay.
Burn it all down.
Listen, okay. I had the Angela Bassett waiting to exhale meme ready.
Match
ready.
Hand,
okay.
And
match
gasoline.
in hand. And a
She was
friend
about
of
to
mine,
turn it up like my shed.
exactly. And a friend of mine who you know, Becca, right, who is a badass in her own right, and
Hello.
also a badass ally, was like, wait a minute, what? And she went on and said something, right, with the kind of like white lady fury that is just wonderful to watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to sit with, just for a minute, the fact that I was furious but felt it important that I say it the right way, because if I share my fury the way that it comes out of my brain, out of my mouth, nobody will listen to me. It will
Mm-hmm.
get lost in I'm an angry black lady. But
Exactly.
this
You're
but
problematic.
exactly, but this girl says what she wants in 4 sentences and put up the peace sign and walked out stage left. Okay. Drop
Can
the
we
fucking
can
mic.
we can we talk about like what she said? What she said?
So she made a comment. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she made a comment that said that she has seen this one too many times in the group, that there is a lack of support for moms of color. I think she used BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and that shutting down the comments on that other thread was absolutely absurd. It shut me down. And no matter what your intent is, the moderator came back and said it was mostly because the other women were attacking me. Like, she was recognizing that these other women were attacking me. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why she shut it down. But everybody notices that that's not what it looks like.
That's
What
right.
it looks like is that I got shut down, right?
Yeah.
And so what Becca says is, not only did you shut Candace down, but you shut down the possibility for anybody to come up and give support to Candace, right? So only the people who were attacking Candace got airtime, and nobody else got any airtime, right? So that's what she said, and she walked out, right? And now there was a flurry of responses that were very different to the ones that I got. Okay. Now, granted, it was the middle of the day. Maybe people weren't paying attention. They were doing their own thing. Not everybody's on social media all day like I am.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. Right. But it was evening time, and now people were close to their phone and they got it. And all of the things that were coming in were more about, yes, I saw that. I saw that post and I felt some kind of way about it, but I wasn't sure, right? I saw the
Right.
responses and those were horrendous, right? But I still didn't say anything.
You could have
I
said something.
we have to do better in this group. Like, there was a whole lot of support, right? There was a whole lot of support. And then the moderator came on and apologized to Becca for being upset that the comments had been shut down. And Becca said, "You're apologizing to the wrong person."
Thank you.
Okay. And I know that, and everybody knows that. But this is a place where it is. See, the point of me saying something yesterday was not because I thought I would change that lady's mind. Okay. Because when has that ever happened? Have you ever been in an argument with someone, been right, that person is wrong, and they're like, "Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I was wrong." Nobody
Have you
says
met
it.
like Trump's entire base?
Nobody says that. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew that I wasn't going to change that lady.
Yeah.
And I also knew that I wasn't going to change those two women who came after me. Right. My
Becky one, Becky
whole,
two.
right. My whole intent was to show the group at large what was happening. Right. My whole intent was to show the group that even these questions that you think are simple, that you think this is a world where you can just ask anything. No, you can't. Okay. You can't just ask anything without acknowledging that we live in the society that we live in, and
Mm-hmm.
that words matter.
Of course
Words
they do.
absolutely matter.
And
So
the
no, they're not
words are
any
rooted. They're
right.
rooted in intent.
And
And the
whether you
intent to
intend them
piss.
or not, whether you
Yeah.
I understand that sometimes people's intentions are misinterpreted or not there. The point that we are saying today in 2020 is that it doesn't matter. Unintentional harm is still harm. Okay. What you think is a simple question is not just a simple question. If you have a simple question, ask your friend on your phone.
But
Okay.
here's the thing.
Don't ask a group of 800 people.
But here's the thing. So we're in the midst of a pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're all quarantined. Well,
Mm-hmm.
we should be.
We should be.
If you aren't, then All I'm going to say is this. So listen, unless you're living under a rock, we all have access to television or radio or something, and you're seeing what's going on.
Mhm.
Right? You can't escape the fact that there's a black social reawakening in America, and a reckoning that's coming, and your white people need to find, like, chill the fuck out.
So we're not awakening. They are awakening. We are forcing them to,
Well,
forcing people
yes, you're
to
right.
pay
Correct.
attention. We
So
have already known this thing. We've already seen it. But the point is that you're not living under a rock, and you cannot operate in this world like you don't understand our current culture, or our current climate. Okay.
correct. So you can't avoid the subject of where we are as far as where black and brown people stand in this country and what they're fighting for today, in
Right.
the midst
And
of everything that's been going on in the past 3 weeks. So if you're going to go on social media and pretend that you are this ignorant white woman from Guilford, and I'm just sort of kind of going to post this question with the passive aggressive racism, and no one's going to call me out on that bullshit on a day like today. Today's
right.
not that day.
Today is not that day.
Mm.
I don't think they come on intending to talk the way that they do. I think it's just how they talk, and that nobody has ever said to them, "Hey, that is problematic."
Yeah.
But they don't know me, and they don't know what day it is, right? And that there
They
are
don't.
people now who are willing to say things, right? I think that people know when they are. This is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that that lady intended to come on here and be ridiculous. I'm saying that her lack of awareness of how she might sound is problematic no matter what her intention was, right? And that she could have avoided that with Google, with the included pamphlet, or by dialing a friend. Okay, those were really simple options. I also could have avoided all of this by keeping my mouth shut.
But why should you?
But why should I? Why should I have to be in this group? Okay,
And
fine.
endure
Say that
what
I
you
don't have to be in
endured.
the group. Say that I don't have to be in the group, right? But how come I can't be in the group? I should be able to be in the group because I'm from New Haven and it's a New Haven moms group. What happens in these groups that I was very, very specifically trying to show people is that you have these groups that are labeled moms groups. You look for us to join, right? Because we also know that all white groups are not, they look like a meeting, right? And so most people don't want their group to be all white because then it looks like a meeting, right? So they want us to come in, but they want us to come in and they want us to just accept whatever it is that they're giving us, right?
Or play by their rules.
They want us to play by the rules. They want us to make sure that we're not being uber sensitive, that we are giving them the benefit of the doubt, that we're not assuming malintent from them because, oh, they would never, right?
Or
So
otherwise you'd be problematic.
exactly. So what that means is that we come into these groups because as moms, this group was for like new moms originally. You're desperate for people, especially if you're in a friend group where you're the first one with kids. You are looking for mom friends with kids. And then you get into the group and you're like trying to participate, but around you everybody is talking some old bullshit, right? And you want to be a part of the group, but then you're questioning yourself as if you should be a part of this group if these people are talking this way. And then you're worried that if you say something that you feel you have a right to say, that then they're going to kick you out of the group, or they're not going to invite you, or they're not going to,
that you're wrong,
or that I'm wrong. But I mean, there are so many things that go through the minds of us people, us black, brown, and people of color who end up in these white spaces, right? You say that you want us there, but you don't want to behave like you want us there, right? You want us to be there on your terms, and you don't want to acknowledge anything that you might have been doing that would make us feel uncomfortable, because it's actually our discomfort is our fault and not your fault, right?
Well, that's the other thing, right? So like, even like, for example, if you didn't mean anything bad behind it, the moment that someone tries to have a dialogue with you, let me tell you all the reasons why I think this is wrong. Here's one, here's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? And this is why I think it's wrong. And you're probably agreeing with it in your head, but that pride is not going to let you sort of kind of, like, oh, no, 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 no. you make no sense. You make no sense. No, she actually does, but I'm not going to let her know that.
Exactly. And so that's what that is what I was trying to show this group, that this is the climate and the culture of the group that you are in, that you, nice, polite white lady, had the privilege. Nobody likes the word privilege, but that's the fucking word. There's no other word. It's no, the point I'm making is that you saw something that set off a little twinge, like a little alarm in your head, but decided maybe I'm overthinking it, or yeah, I don't want to get involved, right? That is a privilege, to be able to look away from the crash or the ugly thing or the whatever, right? Meanwhile, I'm sitting here fuming. And the thing is not even directed at me, but it could very well be. And if this is what you're saying in public conversation, what the hell are you saying in private? Okay? Nobody wants to hear that.
And chances are, coming from an area like Guilford, it's typically not going to be very positive.
It's not nice
for people of color.
And I know, without a doubt in my heart, I know that this lady is telling people how this Black girl from New Haven attacked her and damn near called her racist. Okay. Which I didn't. I felt it, but I didn't. Someone else brought up the fact that you can't talk about the stigma of EBT cards and not bring up race. And this lady said, oh, it is rude to bring up color. Nobody said anything about color. Nobody said anything about color. But it's always about color. The whole interaction with me is about my color. And that is not an over-exaggeration. That is not a race baiting. That is an actual fact. The whole problem that those women had was, how dare I challenge and make this nice lady who was just asking a simple question feel bad? How dare I make them feel bad for not seeing anything wrong with this question? How dare I challenge them to look at it again and see how maybe it could have been bad, right? And how dare I not stop when they told me to stop? How dare I? Who do I think I am?
I wasn't ready to stop. You shut me down.
That's how the internet works. I just start another thread.
Right. And so, you know.
So that's where we are. I know I'm not going to change Becky 1, 2, and 3. I'm not going to change them. My hope is that people who are watching this, and I think that, I mean, it turned into a whole kumbaya moment afterwards, and everybody was like, oh, but I want this place to be open, and because nobody wants to be accused of being racist, right? And I didn't even call you racist. Today. I didn't even call you racist. You started to feel racist. And that was somehow my fault.
Those are your demons.
Those are demons that you have to deal with, right? And you
go see an exorcist.
You don't want to look at that. Okay. So now all of a sudden everybody's kumbaya and everybody wants to like rethink this and refigure out how to be better and blah, 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 blah. But that was my point. We can't, in this group of 800 people in this day on 2020, be still talking about like whatever random shit we're looking for. We have to be talking about the thing that everybody else is talking about. And it's not about whether this is a safe space away from politics, right? It's not about being it's not about being political. It's about being a safe space. And it's not safe just because we're only talking about slippers and diapers and size 4 sandals, right?
But the thing is that no matter how you slice and dice it, every program, every group, everything that you do is impacted by the politics, even at a local level, right? All the programs that are available, those programs are thought of, derived by local organizations working with local politicians and government who have the funding to fund all of these programs. And so,
no, I'm talking about a group on Facebook.
No, that's what I'm saying. Oh, okay. So when you're talking about a group on Facebook who's talking about, we don't want to make it political, but this is a mother's group, you got to understand the dynamics that drive the fact that you're a mother, that you have to think about programs, you have to think about schooling, you have to think about all these things that are driven by the political machine. And so the notion that you can sit there and say that this is not a political group when you're a mom's group is completely asinine, because most of the things that mothers do rely on decisions made by politicians and groups and local organizations in your area.
Whether you're going to be able to work however much you need to, whether you're going to have childcare that's covered or not covered, or have access to sick days or pay, all of those things. I hear what you're saying. What I'm getting at is when people say like, oh, this Facebook group is for knitting. We don't want to talk about any of the politics, right? That's what I think people want to say in groups. But as your group is public and gets larger, you have to recognize the responsibility of your group to be a safe space for everyone, right? It just has to be safe. And safe is not, we only talk about knitting. Safe is everybody who's in here is going to feel welcome and respected and honored, right? For their whole person, not just their mom person, but the fact that you can't not see my blackness needs to be recognized, right? And I didn't make the conversation about the EBT card about race, even though I know it's about race, right? But I made the whole thing about race just by being Black. And that's what I want people to see, that I don't have the luxury of playing nice, polite politics and just not making people feel bad or whatever, because just when I say anything, people feel attacked. I could say, I really like your hair, and somehow it would be aggressive, right?
Of course.
That is the thing that we're trying to recognize.
The worst part about
that I'm trying to get them to recognize.
You mentioned the knitting group. So you could be in a knitting group and all you're allowed to talk about is a knitting group, and then you go ahead and you say that you stabbed someone with a knitting needle. And it's a knitting needle. It's related to the knitting group, but somehow, that's not okay. So like you can't really just,
you can't live under a rock. You cannot live under a rock.
Understand, right? And
everything is connected. Everything is related.
Everything that's happening right now impacts every single one of us, whether you like it or not. And so that you have to make sure that, first of all, be on the right side. It sucks for you if you're on the wrong side.
On the wrong side.
You can ask Christopher Columbus over on Worcester Square. Gone. So
gone. Is it gone? Did it come down? Because that did.
He came down.
Okay, good. Because the video that came from that, so this is the thing that happened on the same day that I was having this conversation, and the whole thing was triggering me because that's 4 miles from my house, probably not even a full 4 miles from my house.
Yep.
And so I was feeling very, very, and particularly I don't even know, abandoned, stressed. Abandoned is the word that's coming to mind for the two young men who were basically being attacked and harassed, right?
Physically,
verbally, all of it. Were being attacked and harassed, and that
who didn't even get arrested.
Right? But that the thing that struck me the most and why I felt the need to talk about what I did in the group was all of the bystanders, all of the nice, white, not racist people who were not against the Black people and were nice, anti-racist is not the word because it's actionable. The nice, not racist white people stood by and watched this mob of white men attack these two brown guys. I don't know if they were Black, but they were brown. Okay. They stood by and they video recorded and they took pictures and they watched. Okay. That is how I felt in this group and why I was triggered by the thing that happened, because we are not safe around racist people who are trying to harm us, but we are also not safe around nice white people who will not do a single thing, to say anything or put themselves in a position to stop harm that is coming to another person. Okay? That is why I was so angry. That is why I feel so abandoned. That is why I feel so fucking enraged. Okay? Because when you look around and you know that everybody is against you, then you know how to come correct. You know how to be ready and on guard and everything. But when you allow yourself to think that you are in a safe place, that there are people around who say that they're your friend, who say that they care about you, who say that they care about your kids, who say that they care about Black lives, who say that they care about everybody, who say that they're anti-racist, who say that they're allies, who say that they will be there, right? When they stand by and watch, they just watch other people who they can stop. A white lady can stop a fucking Mack truck, okay? Mm-hmm. She can stop a Mack truck if she stands in front of it. That is
she'll
all.
Never have to. She'll never have to worry about being run over.
She doesn't have to do anything. She can stand in front of a fucking Mack truck and stop it dead in its tracks. That is what I expect of any white person who is claiming to be an ally, anti-racist, or care about Black lives, right? That is what I expect. I expect you to say something, not to sit by and watch, because that makes you complicit. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to be told that. Nobody wants to sit in that. But that is what it means, okay? And I am not your nice Black friend. I am not a special Black girl. I am just a regular Black person who will be run over by that truck in a hot second. I literally, especially now, I will not go anywhere near the street when cars are coming, okay? Especially when I see white people in cars, especially when I see white people in pickup trucks, okay? I am judging, okay? It is how I take care of myself. I am making sure that I am not the person that person decides they are going to speed up and run over, okay? And that shit might sound dramatic, but it is not. There is literal research out there that talks about the fact that white drivers hit Black people more often because they just don't care. They don't stop. They don't slow down. They just don't care. I am not willing to risk that, especially not today, not in 2020. Okay. So shout out to the white allies who are willing to use, it takes literally, it was like a modicum of social capital that my friends used last night. It wasn't even a lot. Okay. And I say that with all the love in my heart. It was almost the least that they could do. Okay. There is still more that everybody can do, but they did something that has had such an impact. Okay. It had such an impact. It turned around the conversation. All of a sudden the group wants to be more inclusive and watch everybody and make sure everybody feels good. It opened back up the comments. Okay. For the section that had been, for the posts that had been shut down, it opened back up the comments. And then other people felt emboldened and empowered to say, hey, I'm sorry I missed that thing yesterday, but here I stand up too. Right.
Their privilege is literally the difference between them being able to quickly move an issue along and you having a challenge in doing
all day, every day. I could be banging the same drum all day, every day, and nobody would listen.
Yeah. Okay? Their privilege is literally your challenge.
And so this is what it means to be an ally. This is what it means to be a co-conspirator. Okay, we are beyond ally. We are at co-conspirator. Use your voice, use your body in a safe way, which I promise you is safe because nobody's coming after you. Literally. They just stopped dead in their tracks. Oh, white lady, we can't hurt this white lady.
No,
literally.
We're getting life for that one.
We've seen it so many times, okay? We've seen it so many times that the one white woman who was killed in the in that protest that happened, we know who she is, okay? We all know that story. That man went to jail. Right? We know everything about her. And that was terrible. Obviously, I have to say that. But we know everything about her because that's like the first time that shit has happened. Okay?
We know that by first name, last name, everything. I mean, seriously, you are not wrong, to say the least, in that, right?
So that's where where did this end? This ended with I'm not in the group anymore. I didn't get kicked out because they're not kicking me out, but I'm not participating anymore. It also ended with, and this is the last thing because I wanted the story to be short, but it's not a short story.
That's okay. Chapter 5.
Chapter 5 is that after the second round, after the allies came through and like fucking burnt the shit down, right? Then I started getting messages in my inbox about how people had seen it and how it was terrible and that they didn't see it when it happened and then they didn't think they could jump in. And oh, by the way, I'm really trying to teach my kids about, and we're reading stories and we went to the rally and we went. Listen, I don't need that in my inbox. I need that on the page of the thing. I don't need an apology from the moderator in my inbox. I need that on the page that shows that I was not the person who was causing problems. That by saying something is not causing a problem. Okay. Those people who were attacking me should not have been reprimanded in the messages. It should have happened on the stage, right? Where the thing had happened. Don't come into my inbox and ask to be my friend. I cannot be your new black friend. I cannot be, you cannot come to me after this and think that I am going to be your friend. I am not going to validate your attendance at a rally. I am not going to validate your books that you're reading or your research that you're doing now. That is not my job. Okay? You support me, you say something out loud in front of the people who were attacking me. You don't come now and ask me to be your friend because you feel bad. I don't know what that is. Okay? In private. Even in public, don't come ask me to be your friend like that. Okay? Why don't you think about why you had to come ask?
I wish they would.
Why don't you think about why you are coming to some random black woman that you have never met before to be friends because you don't have access to black people in your real life? Why don't we talk about that? You cannot teach your children to be anti-racist in an all-white neighborhood.
That's right.
It doesn't work that way.
Easy it is to like come into New Haven and find a space that is socially and racially diverse.
It's a pandemic right now, but people are outside. People are not following the rules. Yeah. People are outside. Okay. There is no shortage of options. If there was not a pandemic, even in a pandemic, there are no shortage of options for you to find your way into a diverse setting and try to make real, authentic connections.
Friendships. Bring your kids to a park somewhere in New Haven and have them play with the local kids.
Exactly.
And acclimate yourself to the culture. Learn about the culture. Be sensitive to the fact that, you know, we're sensitive right now. And do your best to really integrate yourself into society in a very responsible way.
And recognize that you might have to do it a couple times. People not come in open arms because you came to the park one time. We don't know you, white lady. Okay. So this shit is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. But imagine how uncomfortable it is for us. Okay. This is the first time you have felt discomfort. Imagine how long I have been uncomfortable. Imagine how weird it is when I get invited to the YMCA in Branford and the people ask me if I am on public service. Imagine how weird that shit is. Okay. Imagine how weird it is for me to be at a party and for someone to come and talk to me about those quote unquote New Haven parents. Okay. And then tell me that she's renting in the school district of the most like sought after school until her kid gets in. And then she will move somewhere else because her kid will already be in the school.
Right.
And not recognize that there are black women in jail for that. And why are you seeking me out? I'm literally the only black person here. Why are you coming to have this conversation with me? That is uncomfortable. Okay. That is so fucking uncomfortable.
And you hit on a very, very important point. There's literally a woman right now who got locked up for just wanting her
There's
child
several women who are in jail
to have a better education.
mm-hmm.
Literally. And then there's a privileged white woman who served what, 2 days?
who cheated
Literally
and
paid
mm-hmm.
money
and nothing.
to, yeah.
So anyway, that was the story for today. And I don't, I'm still thinking about it. It's not one of these things. I think that sometimes people think there are two things that you can think that, that that I'm just being abrasive and just want to start trouble, and then I move on with my life, right? Or the reality is that like this took up 2 whole days of my life. Okay. I ignored my kids for hours, making sure that I was crafting the right response. Okay. That this has taken a lot out of me that I risk a lot in speaking up, that Black women, that women of color risk so much in speaking up in areas, in rooms, in whatever, and calling attention to something that is fucking asinine. We risk so much. There's so many people who have found out about my daycare through that group. There's so many people who've bought from my company, who've bought from my skincare. There's so many ways that I get my livelihood out of groups like this. And I really, for a hot second, thought, am I willing to risk whatever referral or like nice thing that people usually say about Candace in this group by coming out and saying something that's not nice for the Black girl to say?
Every penny.
That is what I decided. That is absolutely what I decided. If you don't want me because I said this thing that was factual and rooted in facts, then I don't want anything from you. And I don't care who you tell, because if that person believes you and agrees with you, I don't need or want anything from them either. So I want to end on realizing, on letting people know, and I'm obviously speaking to the choir, that when you say something that is a throwaway thing or is just like a simple question, it is not simple to us. Whoever us simple. Is. It's not simple. And I think about it and I sleep about it and I nightmare about it, and it compounds onto other things that I saw from the day that also were attacking me or people who look like me. It is not simple. It is one thing after the other. And we are liable to snap. Okay. So unfortunately, Becky's 1, 2, and 3 caught a good snap. I wasn't even mean. I swear to God, I wasn't mean. Right? Could have been on a different day when I was happy to be mean. Okay. But that is what you're dealing with when you think that something was so simple and so shouldn't have been sensitive. Recognize that all day we are combating bullshit. We are combating bullshit all day. And unfortunately, you were the straw that broke this camel's back.
She never broke your back. She just sort of kind of poked.
It didn't. It just was. Yeah. It just. Yes, because we're not broken.
It's that annoying little like poke, right? It's like when you buy all those little like what do you call those skewers to make your pinchos, and then you're trying to stick the meat in, and it sort of kind of pokes you, and you get irritated.
Oh God.
That's basically what she did. She never broke your back, baby. Nobody up in this motherfucker can break your back.
It's true. Thank you.
Not one of these bitches will ever be able to do that shit. You was a strong woman with 2 kids and an amazing husband and a successful business. And all I can say is this: you were strong, and some of these people just need to be put in their place. And you know what? They just caught you on the wrong.
They caught me on the right day. They caught me on the right day.
You got pricked by that skewer. That's what it was. It was annoying as fuck. And and I hear you.
Yeah. So on that note, because now I feel like I've gotten it off my chest, right? This show is therapy. No matter how you slice it, the show is therapy for me. And I've heard for other people too. I am gonna let it go, right? I'm not going to let it take another moment of my spirit. It has not broken me. It did not break any of the other people in the group. We are not broken by these things. We're tired of these things, but we're not broken by them. And we will stay here because that's what we do. We always trying to help people. We're trying to help you, even though you don't want us to help you. We're trying to help you to be a better person. So please,
I'll send you my bill.
Be a better person
at the end of the week.
So again, shout out to the allies who showed up and out like only white women can. Thank you very much. Shout out to you all. And I know especially specifically these allies don't require any thank you, but it is still important to say thank you because even though I can handle myself, it is nice to not be alone. So to all the allies out there, my allies and allies of others, realize that we do thank you. We might not say it all day, every day, because that's not our job, but we do see you and appreciate you and are grateful for you because we can't get any of this stuff done without you. So go out and be a badass co-conspirator. And if you don't know about co-conspirating, is that a word? Go and learn about it because it's different from being an ally. It's different. So I think on that note, we should close because we are well over time. We are... I had the best of intentions, but long is still long, right?
You remember at the beginning of the episode where she said the intention was 45 minutes, but that's not going to happen.
But it was a lot.
I love
it. It was a lot. Really it's 2 days. It's 2 whole days of the same thing.
You got to get
it out of your
chest.
You got to get it out. So anyway, on that note, we are here. We are in all the places, in all the places. Share this. Do this passive aggressively. Share it. And
put it in your white spaces.
Right? Put it on your wall, drop it and walk away. Okay. Let me say for you what you don't want to say to other people because we can't mess up the money, right? There are probably some people you work with that you would like to say some of these things to. Drop it on the chat and then walk away. Just like moonwalk away and let me say for you.
Free. Like
it's free.
It's no charge for you to just copy the link and just drop it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. So to everyone out there, thank you so much for tuning in tonight, for listening to this story, for calling to check up on me in the last couple of days. I appreciate it. I'm fine. We just gonna move on from this, and we'll see you next time. All right. Let's do the thing.
We're doing it.
We're doing the thing. Bye. Follow us at Facebook at Breezy Moms Podcast or email us at breezymomspodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, don't stress, just breathe.